First things first, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
Good, yeah.
Bit hungover.
But we're all right.
Good to hear. So before we get into the new album, I'd like to start with the key around your neck. Tom, I see you are not wearing yours, but
Sorry.
It's alright.
what is the significance of those keys?
It was like a family thing from my side. I just thought it looked cool. Do you know what I mean? So I started wearing it around my neck. And ever since everything started going well, and Tom saw it one day, I was like, they're cool. And I went, do you want one? I've got one. And he went, yeah, go on then.
So we
So
wore them
Tom
like
started
just before, we were, like just around the time we started the
Started
band.
doing the band, yeah.
We just liked it as a bit of jewellery, I suppose. But then you
Everything
could look at
started-
it like it brought good luck, but depends how superstitious you are. I've left mine on the tour bus. Maybe that's why I feel a bit.
That's what I mean.
Don't feel myself.
You feel naked.
Need the key.
Do you know what it opens?
No, I don't have a clue. Did you know what? There was like 6 or 7 of them, and they were all in like size order. There was like a huge one, and then he went down to one that's like this big.
No clue where they're from?
Nah, nothing. Just like my mum got given them from this geezer called Mr. Bruce, and he's a good guy, Mr. Bruce. Rest in peace. But he left to my mum for some reason. Yeah, so
So ever since wearing them, things have gone well.
yes,
And then just a quick recap, if we go through the last maybe year and a half, how have you experienced it? Has it been as hectic for you as well?
Like what, from when the first album came out?
Yeah, it's kind of that coming in at number one and then...
Yeah, it was just surreal, I suppose. And we took it around the world, and we did so many gigs. We've probably done about 300 or something gigs from the album coming out. So we just toured, and then in between touring, I was writing songs. You know what I mean? So I think no one said we had to go and do a second record or we had to do this. It was all really natural. Like I kind of was like, well, I've been writing songs every time I went home from being on tour. So we'd be away for 3 weeks. We have 2 days off and then start again. And in them 2 days, I'd write a song or two maybe. Yeah. And I built that up over like the year. And once we started demoing them, we kind of felt like, oh, this sounds like a record. Do you know what I mean? It all sounds from the same kind of world. So I think it was like the May 2017. So the album hadn't even been out a year yet, and we went in to start recording the new one. So I think we're just like that. We're quite on the front foot with things. So we've always been really busy, but I don't know. We just kind of embraced it and just kept working hard, I suppose. And once we had the album finished, we had a little bit of time off, like 5 months ago, sort of thing, up until like last month. But I don't know. When you're in I suppose you say the eye of the storm, it's maybe not as crazy, but when you speak to friends or other people about their life and you realise what you're doing, it is quite surreal.
I think it's because we love doing it as well. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't become like don't feel like you're necessarily working or doing anything like that, does it? Do you know what I mean? You just sort of want to do it. So you get out there and you do it. It doesn't feel like any sort of effort. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
The only thing that feels effort is when you've got to get up for like 5 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
Well,
Long flights and stuff like that, but you kind of just get used to it and just used to the haze, aren't you?
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what is one of the things kind of that you encounter in being a full-time musician that you didn't expect? Is it the traveling?
I don't mind travelling really. It's quite. Sometimes it's annoying, but other times it can be sound. Do you know what I mean? But it's sort of like the only time where you get to sit there and just your phone isn't there. It's just you can't use it properly, and you're just sort of like on your own. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit like you can get your tunes on.
Yeah, it's quite
You can just watch a film. You can just like forget about everything for a little bit. Just be like, and just chill out. So it's not too bad sometimes.
Nothing.
There's nothing too.
Doesn't really
bad.
feel like. I don't know. I can't really remember what it was like before we were in a band. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but just didn't have as much fun, I suppose. Like, I had fun. Just the highlight of your weekend. The highlight of your week was going out. So you'd save your money from your part-time job and you'd go for drinks and dance to music.
Get pissed.
And get drunk. But
That's probably
now we do that most nights.
Now we do that.
We
Every
just
night.
play the music instead of listening to it.
And we don't have to pay for the beer.
But like travelling and stuff like that, like, I don't mind being away.
I suppose that's
some
one
people.
of the only negatives. Though. We can't go to the same place we used to in town anymore.
Yeah, more people recognise you, I suppose. Like that will never become normal because it's not normal, is it? It's for people to come up to you, but I suppose proves you're doing something right in the band, and it's
flattering,
nice.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice for people to say that they like your music, and yeah, it's cool. But that's probably the strangest element of the whole thing.
Right, because I can imagine having a #1 album, then coming back home after touring, and you're just in your hometown, and you're just walking across the
Getting
street,
books and that.
and hearing your music being played in stores and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Do you remember that moment, kind of realizing that things had changed?
When I first heard us on the radio properly, I was when I worked. I was driving to work, and it came on the radio, and I just was like, I'm leaving, and I just walked into work and was like, I'm leaving today.
Oh yes, that's when we still had jobs, like real
So
jobs.
that was the time where I was like, yeah, something's happening now. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it just
Right.
came on randomly, like every other radio player sort of had an email being like, oh, you're getting
Yeah,
played at
back
this
in the
time.
early days, it was like we'd all tune in and be like, right, you're getting played at 8 o'clock.
Do you know what I mean?
Whereas it started coming on randomly in the day, and we were like, oh, that's cool.
So I was just like, as soon as I heard that on the way to work, I was like, yeah, done.
This
I
is
walked
it,
up to-
I'm going-
Just walked up to my boss and was like, yeah, I've got to leave. And he was like, what, you got to leave now? And I was like, yeah, I got an interview and I'm leaving, never coming back. I didn't even have an interview, I just went home and played FIFA for a little bit. But I was like, it felt good.
But then in those days, I mean, you had a lot of time to think about the music, to work on the debut album, and like you mentioned, now you had maybe a year and a half that you worked on the new record. So, was it a challenge? Was it difficult getting in the same mindset as you did for writing songs?
I suppose I never really. I just continued doing what I was always doing, and because we released a lot of EPs going into the first album, so we'd written a lot of music and recorded it, and kind of got the evolution process out of our system. So by the time we finished the first album, it kind of felt like a second album in a way, because we'd written 25 songs, you know what I mean, and recorded them, and had written loads more that we'd kind of forgotten about. We'd written and released 25 songs, you know what I mean. That's a lot of music to put out. So I just continued writing, really. So I never really overthought it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I never wanted to change my style or anything like that. I've always written about quite personal things like relationships, or some songs are about nothing. Do you know what I mean? It's more about the melody, I think. So I don't know. There was times where maybe it was like, oh, I've not wrote a song for a few weeks, and there's a pressure of, oh, we've had all this success, like what if?
Right.
But then you write a song and you feel alright again, and you just kind of try not to overthink it. But we're sat here now talking about a new album, so.
Tom's always wrote tunes, do you know what I mean? Since like I knew him, he's always just, some people just write tunes and can do it, and do it well. I fucking can't. Do you know what I mean? I'd be terrible.
Never tried, have you, to be fair? But you
I just know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Come on, if I
Ringo
came in...
eventually wrote songs.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? He had the best solo career out of them.
But,
Ringo, was it?
No.
but,
I love Ringo though, Sir Ringo as well. I'm buzzing about that. Good for drummers though.
no, but I can imagine, because your lives and circumstances have changed over the
Yeah,
years. So does that affect? Well, for instance, you went back to the keyboards, and I believe that was the first instrument you learned to play.
Yeah, that was the first instrument I learned to play. But my songwriting had already evolved into composing on the keyboards on the first record, like Charlemagne. The riff was composed on the keyboard. Honey Sweet, loads of them were. So it's probably like 50-50 really between the keyboards and the guitar. I've always got one or the other next to each other, and I'll go between the two. Do you know what I mean? So it's rare nowadays that I do all of a song on one thing. But like in the past, I've wrote songs just on the guitar. Do you know what I mean? But no, this record, I think, writing and demoing the songs, a lot of the keyboards are like, right, let's get them up in the mix, and don't know, you can flesh out a song a bit more, I suppose, and you can get different tones and feelings, can't you?
It's easy
Like,
to even go through the vibes. You
Yeah.
can play one, do you know what I mean, just change the sound with a click of a button
Yeah.
and make it sound completely different.
Is that the thing, to capture a certain mood or feeling?
I think so, yeah, but subconsciously it's kind of, we had these keyboards going into this record that we'd invested in as a band, so we knew we had about 3 weeks off at Christmas time, 2016, 17, and I knew I was going to be home for a few weeks. I was like, right, I want something which I could, just going to I can vibe off and maybe write some songs on. So we got these keyboards, that were used on like Stranger Things and stuff like that. So you got like 900 sounds inbuilt, but they're really good quality and so varied. You can, like Joe said, you hit one button and you just start playing it and the song kind of falls out the keyboard. I know that probably sounds mad, but it does. Do you know what I mean? It kind of gets you in a, you know,
you.
just yeah, for me.
It's not going to fall out of keyboard to me, is it?
But it's one of them. You've got to evolve, aren't you? Like you can't always. I'm sure you can't always write songs on the guitar because you kind of feel like, oh, I've written all the songs that were on this guitar. Like I need some. I've always done that. Like I remember you had a keyboard line about your house that you were going to sell, and I was like, don't sell it. I'll have it. So then I got it at my house, and then I wrote some more songs on that for the first album. And then I kind of felt like I'd used that a lot. Every time I'd sit at it, it didn't feel fresh. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of.
I think you just get a bit tired of it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel fresh.
Get
like
done with it. You're a bit like
you feel like you're playing the same thing on it over and over again. So you get something brand new that sounds different. It's going to get you into a different corner. Part of it's placebo, isn't it? It's like probably I could have wrote it on something else, but if you've got the opportunity to evolve and invest in some good equipment, why not? Do you know what I mean? I'm sure Kevin Parker from Tame Impala didn't write all them songs on the guitar because they've got a lot of cool keyboard sounds. I'm sure he's got a big stack which helps him. Do you know what I mean?
And the fucking weather.
Yeah.